Hi everyone, welcome back to Total War Therapy. I'm Alberto, and a week ago I asked you in a post to rank all the Skaven units from the worst to the best. And today here we are with the results. Say that, thank you for all your support to my channel, and let's begin. Hi, I'm Alberto, I'm a real person, and here you will find the beginner's guide, the battle unit roster, tier list, ranking, and many shorts. So if you wanna support the channel, please consider to subscribe. Okay, in this video we will start from the 15th position, just because I made a mistake actually. In any case, my subscribers put in the 15th position the Warp Grinders, that are a quite peculiar and specific unit. That's why I'm a little surprised with this choice, but in any case they have some strengths that are often neglected by the community. For example, they have this ability that can prevent the enemies from moving, or another ability that can cause damage to all the enemies within range, and their main advantage that it's something that many people don't know. Basically they can take down a wall in very few seconds. Okay, that if you consider that an artillery piece or an ogre monster, they will take such a longer time to take down the wall, while they can do it in very few seconds. So if you are playing in a siege battle, believe me, they can be a very great choice. In any case, as a support melee infantry, you can recruit one of them, but don't exaggerate, don't fill your army with them, because they are not that useful, but just one unit to put in the middle of your army can be quite beneficial for many reasons. And in any case, I'm happy with this choice, because it means that my subscribers are not just random players, but they like to go deep and to understand the real purpose of every unit. In the 14th position, my subscribers put the Plague Monks and the Plague Monk Censer Bearers. I'm sorry if my pronunciation is not correct, but I'm still Italian, and commonly we are not the best English speakers in Europe. In any case, these are basically your anti-infantry infantry for the Skaven roster. They have both the anti-infantry bonus and the frenzy that will enhance some of their stats when the leadership is high, and then they have, for example, the Censer Bearers that are the upgraded version. They have also the magical damage, an ability that decreases the leadership of the enemies, and the armor piercing damage. So if you need some melee support against other very heavy infantry that are attacking your front line, they can be a very good choice. And in any case, if you have, for example, Lord Skrolk, you can even boost their stats, so they can be very powerful. In the 13th position, my subscribers put the Storm Vermin, that are the most elite melee infantry for the Skaven, and you can build your front line with them, because they have plenty of armor. There is a version with the shield, their weapon strength is great, and they are more resilient. They have plenty of leadership that is quite uncommon for the Skaven units. There are two versions, one with the sword and shield and the other with the halberd, so one more protected against the missile, and the other that is better to counter-attack charging monsters and cavalry. In any case, they are a good option for your mid to late game armies. At some point you will start to replace all your clan rats with them. They are not that expensive, and compared to the other elite melee infantry of the other rosters, they are probably some of the weakest in my opinion, but I have to say that I'm not disappointed with them, so a good choice of my subscribers. In the 12th position, my subscribers put the Doom Flayers, that are another very specific unit in this roster, and also quite unique in the entire game. Now, basically they are a chariot unit, but they work in a little different way. They have a very big armor that can be increased by 24 points when they are engaged in melee with a particular ability. That's why they are very hard to take down if your enemy doesn't have any armor-piercing unit, and they are quite elusive. They are, I mean, we can say fast for the standards of Skaven, and you have to consider that if you don't have the DLC, the Twisted and the Twilight, where there are the Wolf Rats and the Brood Horrors, basically they will be the fastest units in your roster, so you may need them in multiple occasions. And I have to say they are not that bad. You have just to be careful, because if they are addressed by a character or a armor-piercing monster, they can be in trouble, but otherwise, as I said, they are very hard to take down, so you can just have fun, charge the infantry, since they have also the anti-infantry bonus, and I mean, just tear apart, break the formation, and so on. In the 11th position, my subscribers put the first in the video DLC unit, that is the Mutant Rat Ogre. That is basically a single entity, bigger version of the Rat Ogres, that is a monstrous infantry already available in the base game, that will have the Frenzy, the physical resistance, and the Molder monster, that means that it can be boosted by Throat, the Unclean, and the Packmasters, especially in the campaign of this legendary lord. Now, they are big monsters, so you have to use them, to disrupt the enemy formation, to target some cavalry, some characters, or other monsters. They are not that big, I mean, especially for the new standards of Creative Assembly between the Top Dragon and the Mervim. But yeah, in any case, I have to say they are good, because they are big with a lot of mass, a good charge bonus, so they can move fast around the enemies, around the enemy formation, and cause a lot of destruction. Now we can start with the top 10, and in the 10th position my subscribers put another monster, the Hell Pit Abomination. That is the biggest monster for the Skaven for now, but I think that even with a further DLC, probably the Lords of the End Times, this will remain the most expensive unit of this roster. In any case, the Hell Pit Abomination is an anti-large predator with regeneration, so it will replenish his hit points, and then other abilities, like another regeneration ability that has a chance of 50% to be activated. Then it can summon a unit of Skaven Slave Spears when the unit falls down, and other abilities like the missile resistance, the anti-large bonus, and so on. Now, this is a good option, especially in the late game, where the army of your enemy will have some other monsters, and this unit is perfect to hunt them down. But yeah, overall it's not my favorite monster, but in this specific roster, in the Skaven army, I have to say that they can be a really great option for the late game. So good, my subscribers. In the 9th position, my subscribers put the Warp Lightning Cannons. That are the first artillery unit of this video, and I have to say I agree with this choice, because amongst all the cannons, these are probably the best, and I will explain you why. First, as I said, they are cannons, so they are supposed to target large entities, cavalry, monsters, and they are great at doing that, but then they have a peculiarity that makes them stand out compared to all the other cannons in the game. Basically, the cannons are put at, the cannons are above the height of the infantry, okay? And this is great, because you can deploy these cannons wherever you want. You don't have to be careful of the position, otherwise they will cause a friendly fire, or they will be just unable to shoot, because there will be, an infantry unit in front of them. That's why they are particularly great, and I think that every Skaven army should get at least one of them. In the 8th position, my subscribers put the Rat Ogres. That I have to say, I don't fully agree with this decision, but I understand that, In some occasions they are quite necessary, because when the enemy is focus more on melee and is engaged in combat with you, and you don't have many chances to deal armor piercing damage with your missile units. At that point you need some melee support, and the Skaven infantry can be a little weak. That's why you need this monstrous support. But I have to say also that the Rat Ogres are probably some of the worst monstrous infantry in the entire game. But even if the price is, of course, they are cheaper than the other monstrous infantry. So I'm not sure if they deserve this position, but as I said, they are quite necessary because there are not many options, especially if you don't have any Skaven DLC. So yes, probably it's okay. In the 7th position, my subscribers put one of the strongest units of the entire game. I'm talking about the Warp Fire Throwers, that are basically the Skaven version of the flamethrowers of the dwarves. So they have a very short range, a good armor, a very bad melee skills, of course, but plenty of not armor piercing, fire, flaming, of course, missile strength. That it's quite destructive. If they manage to shoot at the target, they can tear apart that melee infantry units in just a few shots. That's why, the main problem with them is to protect them. You can use a lord as bait, or a character overall, or some units that will protect their flanks, because once they are engaged in combat, of course they will fall down quite easily. But and you have to be extremely careful of friendly fire, okay? There are some units that don't deal friendly fire, but this unit can destroy first your melee infantry, and only secondly your enemy. And I know that Skaven are expendable, but seriously, don't do it if you can avoid it. And yes, they definitely deserve this position. In the 6th position, my subscribers put the Brood Horror, that I'm a little surprised, I have to be honest with you. I didn't expect my community to like it so much, and it's not one of my favorite units in this roster. In any case, it's included in the DLC, the Twisted and the Twilight, and it's a very fast mid monster with not that much health, so don't get it surrounded by infantry or in bad situations. It's mostly made to hunt down other cavalry or other monsters, some mounted characters, even if it doesn't have any anti-large bonus. But yes, I would use it more against large entities. And the charge is good, it has the poison effect, so it will reduce the speed and the weapon strength of the enemies. The regeneration, so is more resilient, the frenzy, so it can be quite aggressive. Overall is not a bad choice, I just didn't expect it probably, but hey, we are in a democracy. Now let's start with the top 5, and in the 5th position my subscribers put the Death Globe Bombardiers together with the Poisoned Wind Globadiers. Now, I really thought that this unit was one of the best units in the entire game probably, but at the same time I believed that most of players kinda overlooked this unit, so I'm quite pleased that this was not true. Basically, they are a missile infantry, very bad in melee, so try to avoid any kind of physical combat. And they have basically this little grenade that they don't need a straight sight of the target, so you can deploy them also behind your front line, for example, and they cause so much damage to the enemy that is crazy. They're very fast at shooting, at throwing these grenades with armor piercing damage both units. And yes, they are perfect at what they do, so I'm very happy with this decision of my subscribers. In the fourth position, my subscribers put the Plug Claw catapults, that I have no idea why you did something like that, but as I said, this is a democracy, so I respect what you have in mind and I will try to reason. Basically, they are the lowest tier artillery piece in this game, and they are good for me in the early and mid campaign to get the range superiority and to cause some damage to the infantries that are approaching you before the battle actually starts. But if you play with high difficulty, they will often miss the target, and this is a problem. Yes, and in the late game, in my opinion, they are completely useless. At that point you can just replace them with warp lightning cannons, even because there are other units, for example the poisoned wind mortars, that are definitely better than the catapults at doing the same job. So I really don't know why you choose this unit for the fourth position, but I respect it. I don't blame you. And yes, just that they have a good range, they have the armor piercing damage, they are great against bunches of infantry if they don't dodge your ammunition, and they can cause a reduction of the leadership. But yes, overall I disagree. I'm sorry. Now we can start with the top 3, and in the third position my subscribers put the Warplock jet sails. I know that you were wondering when they were coming, and finally they are here. Of course, they are one of the best units, of the best missile infantry units of the entire game. That's why they also made a version for the Grand Cathay, and I'm very happy for that. But of course the Skaven version remains the best. They have good armor and a shield that can protect them from missile attacks. Of course they are very bad in melee, don't even try to engage in any melee combat, and then they have this range attack that, as I said, is one of the strongest of the entire game, because they have a very good range, a lot of accuracy. It's very hard for them to miss the target even in high difficulty, and they have this ability that will the shield breaker, that will bypass the block chance of the shields of the enemies, and also the armor piercing damage. In any case, they are great against the characters, against the monsters, against the cavalry. They can also try to hit the flanks for more damage. That's why they are perfect, and they completely deserve to be in the podium. In the second position of the podium, my subscribers put the Poisoned Wind mortars, that you all know that these are probably the best artillery unit of the entire game, and if you consider the Regiment of Renown version, that is even stronger, and that is probably my favorite artillery unit of the game. In any case, they are few entities, but with a decent armor, so they can be a little protected by missile attacks, and they have a lot of range. There are more entities, so it's not only 4, and they can cause plenty of destruction to the enemy. They have a few ammunitions, but believe me, you will not feel it. And with this missile strength that looks little, but believe me, it's so much, and it can also cause some damage over time after they hit the target. So this unit is just perfect. Once you can recruit them, I would replace all the Plug Claw catapults with them, because they are the best indirect fire artillery that you can ever ask for. And in the first position of the podium, of course, my subscribers put the Rattling guns. Now, this is, as I said in multiple occasions, a unit too strong for this game, and it's unbelievable that are the high elves that are very wise, and they are basically attacking with arrows, while there is a rat that is using a Gatling gun in this game. It's just crazy and completely out of mind. In any case, yes, they have a decent range and a missile strength of almost 300, that if you consider that the poisoned wind mortars, they had just 60. So it's far more, there are far more entities with a lot of armor piercing damage, an ability that is the suppressed, that will reduce the speed of the enemies. So it's so hard to get to them if they are just shooting at you. I mean, your infantry, your unit is just done. You have to be incredibly fast or try to, you know, circle the unit around so you can hit at least from one side, because otherwise, if this unit is well protected, it will be the most damage dealer of the best damage dealer of the army. That's why we all love it. But yes, they should debuff it, because I mean, it's now 10 years that this unit is too strong for the game, so they have to fix it, in my opinion. Thank you for following me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get ready for the next ranking made by you. Thank you for everything, and see you very soon.